Well, today the Iron Lady joins us again to talk about the last city council meeting, and boy, have we got a lot to talk about. I'm Bob Steinhagen, or Bunker Bob Steinhagen, and this is the Bunker Bob Show. That's right. Welcome back. It's a new week. Welcome back. I hope that your weekend was great. Mine certainly was. And we got a big rain, and hopefully the rain is not going to be so treacherous as it was last night, but that's okay. We love the rain. So, Lord, thank you for the rain. Let's always remember that. Next thing you know, we're going to be in drought. So enjoy it while it lasts. One thing I did on the last show that I need to correct, and I can't believe that no one caught this, but I certainly did, and that is that I highlighted on my last show for my fellow deplorables out there that Donald Trump had announced that he was running for president again for a second term, something that my wife and I contributed to, and we were part of the I think probably millions of people who contributed to his reelection campaign that gave him a total of $25 million raised in 24 hours. At the last show, I just unthinkingly said $25,000 in 24 hours. Of course, that was a slip of the tongue. $25 million in 24 hours. So I'm excited that our president is going to run again. I think he's done an amazing job, and there's one person who has obviously a big "I told you so" because she is one of the people who said that from the beginning. I was a cruise guy, and she reminded me of that today in prepping for this show that I was, or that she had been saying for a long time, and that she had been promoting Donald Trump, and that of course is Adrienne Balcom. Adrienne, welcome to the show. It's good to have you back with us.
Hi, I'm glad to be back.
And so what's been going on lately? You were at the last city council meeting, right?
Yes, I was there.
Well, and so we have a little bit to talk about regarding that, and certainly we will go through different parts of that council meeting, and I think it would be good to start with one of the last things that was on the agenda. Actually, it was the fire station, the transfer of the fire station, and so I want to kind of highlight that real quick, and here's the motion, and then the question on it, and then Adrienne, I'm going to ask you to kind of fill us in on what happened there. So here it is.
I'll make a motion to consider an amendment to the agreement for the fire protection services and integration between the MCVFD and the city of McClendon Chisholm, transferring the ownership of the fire station to the city.
All right. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right. It's open for discussion.
I guess maybe I don't understand until we can see the budget. I don't see a reason to take on something more right now. So that's where I'm at.
Well, I think it's important to understand that, first of all, the city has the responsibility for Station 2 already. We're paying the utilities and everything, we just don't have title.
So we're paying for everything, we just
We're
don't
paying
have
for
ownership
everything,
of
we
it.
just don't have title.
Do we have insurance and everything else on it?
Yes.
We do.
So this will just transfer the real
Ownership
property.
of the property.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was the confusion by the new Trudy council member Trudy Wosner. What? Fill us in. Why was she confused?
Well, it's clear to me that they have not actually reviewed any of the budget items that they have requested months ago whenever they were trying to claim that they are familiar with what's going on with our finances and making all these claims about hundreds and thousands of dollars of this and that. Basically, the agreement that we had passed while I was on city council, and it was till September 30th, 2019 that we had the agreement to pay for the utilities and to keep Station 2 operational. And it's also a place where we had stored equipment and other vehicles there as well. And what was significant is that the September 30th, 2019, the reason why we had an end date was, at that time we didn't. We believed that we were going to have, our Station 1 to be focused on, so that the city will have its own fire station and working with TxDOT and all that. But what's interesting is that Station 2 was going to be a possibility for MCVFD to continue on, if they want to supply services for out in the unincorporated area or whatever they wanted to do. So that option was there, and it wasn't going to be our decision, but MCVFD's decision to do that. But by transferring the title, it's pretty much a done deal that MCVFD doesn't have any assets now. And if that's what they wanted to do, that's what they wanted to do. And I'm perfectly fine if that's that's the good decision to transfer the title. That's fine. I mean, it's true, we have been paying for all the upkeep and the utilities and stuff. So
yeah, and so they still have a bank account, though. They still have money in that bank account, but that hasn't been transferred over to the city. Is that correct?
The only thing I remember last that I checked was whenever I was on council is that they had money in the bank and they gave us a number, and there was supposed to be a process of transferring that, and I don't believe I don't know if there was a transfer done yet, so I do not know that right now.
Yeah, the open records requests will not allow us to go into the MCVFD's bank accounts until that is transferred over. So we're chomping at the bit for that to happen. And I'm very curious to see if that ever will. But I digress. So let's move to the next thing that was on the agenda, or one of the last things that was on the agenda, was the budget and budget planning, I guess is the best way to put it. And that was one of the things that they wanted to put a schedule together, a budget planning schedule. And I was shocked, frankly, since especially when you consider, and I'm speaking specifically of Lorna Kippett, her questions about what she's going to get. I mean, this is someone who has made countless, she and her husband have made countless open records requests on the budget and the procedures and all of these things. And what's clear to me, at least, is that that was just trying to keep us busy and distract us from what was really going on, because she really wasn't paying attention. And here I'll just show you what I mean by that.
When you give us when we have the budget workshop at our special on July 15th, will you have provided us read-aheads for what that budget looks like, so we can study it and not come in cold turkey?
We'll put a packet together ahead like we normally do, and I'll try to get that to you as far in advance as I can with some explanations about what all those funds are.
Can you draw the line at the current tax rate? That way, the above the line, below the line, where, if that's making any sense to you, base the budget on what our current tax rate is.
Sure.
Yes.
That's what we normally do.
That's what I figured.
That's what we normally do. Did that strike you at all?
Yeah, it was a bit surprising, considering the budget is not only available, through open records requests, but as one of the requirements of being transparent, having an open, transparent government, and we have a website. It's also available on the website, the current budget, so what was approved and all that, and all of the briefings that you see, and now that citizens can actually look at what the city council is looking at because of the iCompass extension program that we talked about and that needed to happen like quickly. They can literally see all the documents that's in their brief. So every time they have a council meeting, we have items and documents for you to review to be prepared for the council meeting. And another thing that we did was
but let me before I'm going to butt in real quick. But what's interesting about her question is, it's not oh, when are we going to get that information? It's, are you going to give us that information? It's like she's never paid any attention to budget, and shouldn't she have some of that information already?
Oh yeah, she absolutely. I know she has that information because I was CC'd on an email in the past, and not to mention, she has access to the city administrator. She has access to the city accountant, and they can, answer any questions directed about the budget if she needs clarification or that. In fact, that's what they should be utilizing, and that's what they're there for. But another thing that I want to point out is that one of the things that the city administrator's job is to inform the council on some feedback on if this is going to affect the budget or not, and just kind of give like a little bit of a synopsis document, and usually that's provided on every agenda item, on most agenda items. So yeah.
Yeah, it was just curious to me. It just didn't make any sense. So those are the two kind of highlights from the end of the meeting. But I guess really the big topic was really had to do everything had to do pretty much with the PID. Well, actually, none of it had to do with the PID. I mean, am I right? Is it just me, or did they totally talked around it? And isn't it? And what I found most fascinating about the meeting is they had the PID administrator there, and they're there to talk about the PID. And if you watch the city council meeting, you'll notice they talk to everybody except for the PID administrator.
Yeah. So even the developers council kept on referring back, or even the developer was like, you should probably get advice to your PID administrator or your financial advisor and stuff. So that was, I don't think they really fully understand like their position of what they can do and who they're supposed to be talking to. Yeah. There's lots of questions that were being asked to the wrong people, and it was definitely clear to me that they are very unprepared when they were coming to the meetings and understanding what they should be reading, and I think that they're getting a lot of feedback or information by those who sound like they know what they're talking about. And so I think that there's a consistent miscommunication of what, who they should be getting information from. Yeah, and I'm going to highlight a couple of the people who give such awful misinformation. I mean, they just don't care about what is true. And they post things on these Facebook groups as though they know what they're talking about. And what's most telling is, and I'll highlight this toward the end of the show. I'll highlight some of these comments. Is just how either they are completely ignorant of fact, or how devious and deceitful they truly are in trying to mislead people. One of the things in the city council meeting that I thought was interesting was Chris Cooney. Chris is basically he works for developers. He's an engineer by trade. He was the former mayor of Heath at one time, and he and I did not get off on a good start when I first came on city council. In fact, he had come to propose a development that was going to violate our city's 1.5 acre minimum per home site standard, and it was my very first meeting, and I even had a sign put on the front of the dais in front of me where I was that says, "What part of 1.5 acres don't you understand?" So he and I did not get off on a good foot, but I want to make something very clear.
that I think Chris Cooney is a good guy. I don't have any animus against him. He does what developers do, and that is they try to develop properties and developments and homes and places for people to live, and Chris does a great job of it. So Chris, along with Russell Phillips and other developers like them, they're doing what they want, kind of were born to do. The job of a city council is to protect the citizens from overreach. And the citizens of McLennan-Chisholm said, we just want our city to have 1.5 acre minimum per home site lots. What was interesting to me about what Chris came to the council with was he really came with a little bit of a history of the PID of Sonoma Verde. And I thought it was interesting enough that I want to play just a few clips from that, because it's informative, especially for people who are maybe not familiar with how the Sonoma Verde PID came into being, and how that was developed, and Chris was part of that. And so I thought I'm going to play a couple of clips. I'll stop throughout these clips, and we can talk a little bit about each one. So here's the first one.
I'm the civil engineer. I've been involved in this project since the property first was purchased and started the development back in 2004. Was part of the team that brought forth the development agreement. I think it's important for not only you, but for the citizens here to give you some context and some history about how we got here and how Sonoma Verde came about.